backdrop has been invaded now. Yeah. Pull focus forward. Hello, hi, Tony, Artie, hi, Tony.
Hello, hello.
Okay, this location is approved.
It's approved?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Nice to meet you as well.
So you could, depending on where you are in the class, you could get the column on the Place de la Concorde. I mean, the Arc de Triomphe. Yeah. No, my understanding after was that it was in the kind of park area opposite the Place de la Concorde. But I just sent a photo to the press advisor of a location in the park and she said it's fine. So I think we're going to go with that. Yeah. No, I just texted saying, we just got back. Yeah, no, thanks.
All right, okay.
Just blah blah blah.
Yeah,
That's true.
As long as the light is okay.
Yeah, this is the only thing that I care about. Yeah. Maybe we have a little contre-jour, maybe.
Yeah,
it's fine.
This is fine because he's in a darker background.
Exactly. So, perfect. Excellent. So if you are agree, fine.
Yep. I'm an easy person, to be honest.
Cool.
With these things, anyway. Other things, not so much.
Saved.
Hey. It's because their cars are right out there. I guess they don't want to go too far. Sun comes out, we're really bright, huh?
We put the light in there, no?
Yeah, so yeah, I think we'll be better off.
Yeah, the people right now. Yeah, light there would be nice. Ouais,
Sun is going as well?
Même au niveau.
And they're still having coffee at lunch, apparently.
Quel est ton numéro?
Celui-là
Tu peux taper s'il y a le
10
signal
euros
qui va.
aussi.
Parce que si il y en a quelqu'un qui les câbles sont fragiles, qui commence à m'écrire, je ne veux rien voir. Et c'est pour ça que j'essaie de dire.
Et le fait que je l'ai pris comme ça. Ah non, ça c'est bien.
Non, non.
Ouais, ouais.
Non, ça va. L'audio il est plus résistant, mais regarde, c'est HDMI, il est vachement délicat. Tu vois comment il est fragile de...
Ouais. C'est britannique, ils font vachement confiance à Paris, regarde comment elle est là. Ils nous font confiance.
Bon, je pose ça un peu parce qu'ils sont au café. La caméra.
Tu veux m'envoyer le contact Teams peut-être? C'est pas ça. Donc ça, je peux leur envoyer un petit message. Après, bon, normalement, ils peuvent m'appeler sans souci.
Ouais. All right. Lunchtime.
Of course, ils vont bouger vite, ils vont décider quand est-ce qu'ils partent.
Sinon tu vas te mettre là, regarde. Qu'il fasse pas spaghetti. Voilà.
That would be nice, you know. Bit of breeze.
Tu veux, hein? Je fais une photo. Je suis à 80, je vais avoir une auto en main au cas où. Ah oui, là c'est maintenant, c'est l'été. C'est l'été indien. Hein. L'autre, il est trop fragile. 1, 2, 1, 2, ah.
Yes, August next year. Or no. Yes.
Very good. You don't have time to lose anything.
Shannon is our Paris fixer. Paris fixer. He's a big.
Got all the person from Skype.
Get caught.
Right behind the mirror.
That look when I looked at you this afternoon, Senator Craig, he bought the tickets from the train. He said it.
Senior, senior.
He didn't know, and so he bought the tickets. Well, maybe he did, but I didn't. So when I went through the gates at the metro, the one where the lady stopped me, and this is the ticket for a child. Oh, I'm sorry, can I pay the rest? You have to pay it back, €50.
Yeah.
And
But
then
then we were like, where's Shannon? And then we looked and he's like,
he
hi.
disappeared. He just.
Yeah.
It's like a small boat. They're fucking fun. Yeah.
And then we went about 100 yards, and then he was behind the wall.
What happened there? Oh.
They're going to get kicked back.
Shannon's getting flight out today. From Berlin. No, it is later. Hopefully 15, 20, 10, depends exactly when they leave. Sorry? Yeah.
Kissy and goodbye.
Yeah. But yeah, so they haven't left yet.
But
They
haven't
are
left?
no, they are thinking they're finishing up, they think. So I don't want
Okay.
to commit. I don't want to commit to a time of arrival, but
Okay.
I will tell you when they have left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when they're leaving.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. This is
Well,
your
yes,
bag,
we're
right?
busy now.
Because I snuck in my phone.
Just visit, try and finish a bunch of things off, and usually turn around 6. Then we also have loads of bank holidays in May, so it's like trying to do all that in like 4 weeks. So next year I'm trying to take a little bit.
Aye, yeah. Because if there's all the bank holidays, what is it? 4 of them or 3?
This year there was 4, but I actually think because the year they moved them, they only do them on the exact day. The problem is 2 of them are Fridays this year, so next year they'll be Saturdays, so we won't get bank holidays.
Well, no, you don't get them, but do you not get them then? Because when you get in Ireland, you get them on the Monday.
I think they don't do that here. Yeah, exactly. So
Okay. So yeah, if you had known, you could have turned around and said, okay, right, I'll make 16 days into a month.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Right.
What is the sort of holiday allocation in France?
So I'm hired in Ireland.
When you're able to stop? I'm happy to stop.
Irish.
Irish, yeah. Io she's the gun of whiskey.
I will change the battery just now to change.
Facing.
Knowing
Yeah, that might be the
whatever they want.
Il m'a envoyé les détails de la vente en disant non. You want a sheet of paper? Then?
Dis-lui qu'il va commencer à Johnny comme ça, il sait. Il arrive.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Nice to be there. Excellent. Long week. As you went about an hour longer than.
Excuse me, sir. So apologies we're a bit late.
Yeah, thank you.
The one there kind of dictates the pace. Good to see you. Yeah. Okay. Are you ready? Or? Just to say initially that we had a very comprehensive meeting with President Emmanuel Macron, covering the bilateral relationship between Ireland and France, also the Irish presidency and the issues that will be covered and dealt with and hopefully delivered during the Irish presidency. So we discussed and explored those issues with the President. We discussed the Middle East, situation in Iran, Hormuz, Gaza, West Bank, Lebanon, and the situation in Israel's behaviour in respect of the flotilla. On the bilateral side, we have very strong position now in terms of both the economic relationship, about 45 billion in trade now between France and Ireland. It's very significant. The interconnector will be completed 2028. That's the first energy connection between France and Ireland. We will explore the possibility of a second connector in due course. We also have strong cultural linkage. Today, later, I'll be announcing the digitalisation of archives pertaining to Irish people in France. And fascinatingly, at the end of the lunch, he showed me records from the French archives, military archives in Vincennes, to do with Wolfe Tone. And these are letters from Wolfe Tone, handwritten letters from Wolfe Tone prior to his death, pleading with the French authorities as a French soldier to look after his wife and family. Very poignant, very moving. And then also we will now digitise those archives, and I think that will be a very significant venture of great use to Irish researchers and so on. And then obviously our Department of Defence is working with the French Department as well in terms of procurement in respect of radar and sonar and other matters. But so the economic relationship is very strong between the two agencies. On the presidency, I think there's broad agreement in terms of the competitiveness agenda and the roadmap that has been laid out by the Commission, the Parliament and the Council, particularly around the Capital Markets Union, or the Saving and Investment Union, and it's called, the 28th regime in terms of the establishment of small to medium-sized companies across Europe in a much more quicker timeline, the Industrial Accelerator Act. So we had a very detailed discussion on all of those. We then moved on to the budget. How might that land? There's an objective to complete the budget negotiations by the end of the year. So we, taking on the presidency, are endeavouring to try and ascertain the various positions of governments, and the French government is obviously a key government in terms of the ultimate shape of that budget and whether we can get agreement by the end of the year or not. So it was very useful from that point of view to hear the French perspective. And on the Middle East, I think significant concern obviously in terms of what's happening in Hormuz and in terms of the need to get a resolution for all concerned. And as you know, President Macron has led a coalition in respect of being available to support any resolution of the situation in Hormuz and to be supportive in such a resolution in terms of the movement of ships and goods and so on like that. So overall, I think a very fruitful and productive meeting. And Cynnu Crimseach a bhí ann, Dair go hanavaling, Sléir gohfuil cadrah leidir idir an rank agus an éireann, cuasaí trádála, cuasaí cultúra, agus aláin nithe eile, agus mar le uachtaránacht an Aontas Eorpach bhí de phléimor na mór ceistine a bhaineann leis an budget agus le aláin nithe eile a bhaineann leis an Europe agus an Consus Federling Europe a dhéanamh níos comórtasach sa todhchaí.
Taoiseach, worldwide concern over Ben Gvir's antics with the flotilla detainees, including the President's sister. How will the Irish government bring it home to the Israelis, given the fact that they've broken off relations? Will you be pushing for the suspension of the EU-Israel Association Agreement? And can you pledge now to bring forward the Occupied Territories Bill before the summer?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think there has to be in our view, the most effective approach is a collective European Union approach. That has proven difficult in the past. But I think the French presidents shared my concerns with the behaviour of Israel, not just in the context of the flotilla, bad and all as the behaviour of Ben Gvir has been, but also in terms of the lack of progress in Gaza in terms of humanitarian aid going into Gaza, the appalling situation in the West Bank, in terms of the behaviour of the settlers, who to a large degree have been facilitated by Israel, and the behaviour of Israel in Lebanon. Obviously the President will speak for himself and President Macron will, but I think there is a shared concern there. I think there's also a shared desire to move this on at European Union level. And so we will continue to engage on the matter and with other governments as well. In terms of the Occupied Territories Bill, my understanding is I've had discussions with the Minister. The Minister, I think, in the Dáil today has indicated that we will be progressing the bill, as I said yesterday, in respect of goods, and I think we can make progress on that before the summer recess.
Why not service?
Well, I don't think the services side of it is implementable or viable, and the advice we have on that is fairly solid, and also legally it's not within our capacity to do it. But even apart from that, it's just impossible to implement, and we have to be straight with people as well.
You've written to President Costa about the summit in June and saying this can't be business as usual with Israel. Is there any evidence that there would be a consensus at EU level to suspend the association agreement in part or in whole, given the continued resistance of a number of member states, and also the Commission is bringing forward legislation in relation to banning certain goods from occupied territories, from Jewish settlements? Will that make any difference to the passage of the Occupied Territories Bill?
I think, first of all, there's growing anger across the European Union in respect to the behaviour of Israel. As I said earlier, in terms of the most recent egregious behaviour and appalling and disgusting behaviour has been the treatment of those on the flotilla. First of all, they were abducted in international waters. The way they have been treated in captivity is unacceptable. And then the behaviour of a government minister from Israel has been absolutely shocking and has shocked the world. But add to that, which far worse in our view, is the failure to fulfil phase one of the peace agreement in terms of getting really significant volumes of humanitarian aid into Gaza, and then the continuing violent elimination and displacement of Palestinians from their homeland on the West Bank. And then you add what's happening in the Lebanon in terms of displacement, in terms of reckless behaviour in respect of UNIFIL troops. And all of that really, I think, has angered a lot of European countries. So I think the mood is changing. The precise mechanisms that will be, if agreed on or will be examined by Europe, remains to be determined. I have received positive feedback from my correspondence to President Costa, and he's agreed or is agreeable to having it on the agenda for the next council meeting.
Taoiseach, surely this is your moment of opportunity, right? The Irish presidency, to actually get this through. You don't have Victor Orban blocking things anymore. Can you commit to making it a priority of the Irish presidency? Are you going to bring it up with Maloney tomorrow? She's one of the people who've been against it.
Well, the broader issues on the presidency relate to the general issues that will be determined by council in terms of competitiveness, in terms of the enlargement of Europe, the budget negotiations and all of that. But the issue here is not just about the presidency, it's about the European Union having credibility in terms of its approach to standards and values in the world. We've taken positions on Russia, we've taken positions on Iran, and the behaviour of Israel does demand that Europe takes a position. So we will be actively and proactively as a member state. We won't have the presidency by the next council meeting, but that won't stop us from raising this, along with other member states who are quite angry now with what they're witnessing. And there's a recklessness in terms of the behaviour of Israel, and very oblivious to the impact of its actions on people in the Middle East itself, but also around the world.
In relation to that video, has it accelerated the mood at EU level to act against Israel at all, or is that still a slow process?
No, it has. I think it has accelerated the momentum, and I think it's created a lot of anger. Because a lot of what you would have witnessed yesterday was not coordinated. I mean, individual prime ministers came out themselves in respect of their own citizens and in the context of what they witnessed on that video. So it's clear change in mood, and it had been changing for quite some time. Even after the attack on Iran and Israel's role in that, and there was a real sense of change of mood, also because even flying out from Gaza, notwithstanding the historic positions that some member states have always taken, they're not happy with how all of this is unfolding, and the lack of any progress on the Palestinian question is causing deep disquiet among many member states.
Just on the EU presidency, there are a lot of issues that you outlined there in the war in the Middle East, the budget, cost of living issues across Europe. How will the Irish government balance coordinating all those issues, negotiations with issues at home, the housing issue in particular? And the debate in the Dáil yesterday was very heated and very, very fiery, and people are expecting action, not just at some stage, but imminently on this.
Well, there's ongoing action on housing, and we're working on all fronts on housing, and have been since this government was formed, and a lot of the building blocks we put in place in the first year will bear fruit in terms of housing, because we need to get to about 50,000 houses per annum for about 10 years at that level of output to deal with the demand there, the growth in the population and so on like that. And some of those choices are challenging, but it's better that we make those choices now to have that success over a period of time. We're up to 36,000 last year. We need to get higher than that this year, and we're hoping to do that. Obviously, we're concerned with the war in Iran because that's feeding into costs and inflation more generally, and hopefully it doesn't impact too negatively on the construction industry. But that's why we think an end to the war and a resolution of the Strait of Hormuz issue is critical for economic growth in Ireland, and indeed economic growth across the world. The cost of living issue and housing are primarily domestic issues. There are obviously read across in terms of energy policy at European level, but in terms of direct fiscal supports, that will be domestic, and that will be in the context of our next budget.
With all these problems,
last questions to Reuters and to Radio Gaza.
How did the video of Eve Akila is going viral in Ireland and all over the world? What do you make of that situation?
Well, that has been thoroughly investigated now by An Garda Síochána and also by the Garda Ombudsman, or the FISRU as we would, as it's the title of the organisation in Ireland. And I don't want to prejudice the outcome of that, but it is deeply concerning what has transpired here, and it merits a very thorough investigation, and that will happen.
And on the subject of the Israel-EU accord, what did President Macron make of your call to partially or fully suspend it?
But I don't want to comment on, for the President. The President will make his views known on that, but I think we share deep concern about what has happened and the need for Europe to have credibility in our response, given our response in other situations. So I think a lot of concern out there now, and I think the President shared with us his concern about what is not just in terms of the flotilla, but also in terms of Gaza, in terms of the West Bank, and in terms of Lebanon also.
Momentum in Shane agus the Luan Tarde going after Helmangati Armadan Khama. Montage is in the Tarlu will imini na strict for a more of Gurgo lesson coin to Tradal later in Europe because Israel corruption right.
Well, Táin Dúchláin sin own Visha own Rave Tasha own Fos ach mar dort me is léir go bhfuil ahar le feskint mar le mion tír éagsúla. Tá forhar is na tíre is anmhóra fad fin méad atá tar éis Tarlú agus tá siad faragach fin méad a dhéen ar ben gavir go háirithe agus tá anacid tíre chomá anna bórtha faoin aspa dul chun cín in Gaza an méad foréigen agus tí halahúatá ar siúl san West Bank agus an méid scris agus foréigen atá ar siúl in Lebanon. Tá géir gá an a bhad níos mó dul cín a dhéanamh in Gaza, West Bank agus in Lebanon.
Agus anion sin tá níl nidóil dul cho fada le mulla go mainfi go gurfi an cointú trodáile ar finra tatú dul ann in is nocht caidir tú lo.
Well ben bé kaint leis an bríomhara ar madan agus tá ag súlis an grinú sin agus gan áras big an ceisio le plé a going agus nílam chun éon rud ará rivan chrinú.
But it's polling day tomorrow in the by-elections. In light of all the problems you've outlined domestically, including the Daft report we saw this week, are you confident that the Fianna Fáil candidates can remain competitive in both Dublin Central and Galway West?
Yeah, I think I've been out in Galway West with Killian Keane. Very positive reception for him as a young emerging candidate. He's 2 years a councillor, and in fact in the housing estates we were in last evening, many people praising his hard work on the ground. And so that was important. I think it's very hard to call it because of so many candidates and so on and transfers. In Dublin Central, that has historically been more difficult constituency for us, as you know. But again, John Stevens has been very well received in the door. I've been out on quite a number of occasions. Again, housing is a consistent issue. In Galway, transport a very big issue, and infrastructure. And the cost of living, of course, because exacerbated by the war in the Middle East.
Did anybody comments on the doorstep?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, thanks. Thanks so much, Taoiseach.
Thank you, indeed. Thanks.
Questions more face towards the camera, towards the
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries.
Do you think we can ask one last, because we don't have that video, just like a quick 30-second reaction to his personal reaction to the Flitzer video?
Genuinely, we've already pushed the rest of our schedule back 30 minutes because we're running late, so I'm
not
sorry.
Even 30
I'm
seconds.
sorry, no,
okay.
not this.
He already said some of it in the previous questions.
Thanks, Peter.
Good luck, Shannon.
Thanks.
See you soon. Enjoy. Niall. You know Naomi?
Yeah, well, yeah, we've been trying.
How are you, Bram?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, good. When did you get down here?
Yeah.
This morning, was it?
This morning, yeah. Not too early, training for
Yeah, and we were late as usual then again.
kind of calm about it.
Yeah. Or L'Oreal.
Yeah.
We're to go to Beef Talk.